How do you end the cycle of violence? It's a question community leaders across the country have been tackling. President Biden recently highlighted a Chicago outreach program as an effective approach.
And leading that group is Eddie Bocanegra with the Heartland Alliance Ready program. He is joining us this afternoon with more on their approach. Hello to you, Eddie.
Hi, Lourdes. How's it going, Ben? Good to see you.
Great. Good to see you, too. Let's start with that meeting that you had with President Biden just a few weeks ago. He really singled out your organization live on TV as an approach that's working. So tell us a little bit more about that meeting. What was said?
Well, there was quite a bit that was said, but here's how I would summarize it. We have a president in our history that for the first time is actually prioritizing gun violence. He is prioritizing in a way that is recognizing as a public health approach. It is a crisis that we're going through, and he's also looking at it through the lens of equity and race. And so that's really important. What's also equally important is that he's asking the right questions. He's asking, what is working? What advice can I give to other mayors, other governors across the country who is grappling with this very same issue right now?
So what is working? What are the real concrete steps that your group is doing and that you see other groups using successfully?
Yeah, so Ben, here's what I would say. At the end of the day, you know, I had the fortune to manage a large initiative across the city, which is the Ready Chicago model, housed out of Heartland Alliance. And we do this with a number of members or what I would say partner organizations in our communities in North Lawndale, Inglewood, West Garfield, and Austin. And these are communities that are deeply impacted by this issue. And so in order to be effective around this work, you have to really build a village around these communities and around the people that we have identified are individuals who are the highest likelihood of being targeted for gun violence or perpetrators of gun violence. And so this brings me back to what the president was asking. He's asking what seems to be working. And so we're here in Chicago through a partnership that we have with the University of Chicago's Crime Lab. We are seeing through a randomized controlled trial study, the same thing that we do for medicine, including, COVID vaccination, that those who are in the treatment group of Ready Chicago versus those who are in the control group, we have demonstrated some amazing success. Now, the study is still ongoing, but we're seeing high percentages of less of our men incarcerated for murder or attempt murder compared to the control group. And we're seeing less victimization in our men as well, right? In addition to that, I would say it's the lessons that we're learning around this study as well that is helping inform the larger scale around gun violence across the country. Cities like Philadelphia, other cities, including Houston and others, that we are providing some information as well.
I want to talk a little bit about your individual story, because one of the things that you've talked about in the past is this idea of building connections with our teens. And you have an unusual story. You're someone who spent some time behind bars for a gun offense. So how do you sort of link that up with the work that you're trying to do to build that connection with teens?
Well, Lourdes, here's what I would say. I literally just left a meeting right now. It's called the It's a meeting housed by the White House on community violence intervention. So about 90 people, 15 mayors were, including our mayor of Chicago, was in attendance. Philanthropy, and other stakeholders who are in the ground doing this work, particularly the Fund Peace Coalition members. Here's what I would say. When I look at the people who were saying and identifying as leaders, I ask myself, how many of them actually have lived experience? How many of them lived in these neighborhoods? How many of them actually been impacted by gun violence? How many of them have been in gangs or in the criminal justice system? And I ask that question because too often we exclude that population. And I would say that whatever success I've actually have had is because I've been very thoughtful in the sense that how do we create a pathway for people who have this experience, this unique richness, right, of knowledge, where they could actually shape, right, the interventions that are happening in our communities, right? And that's really critical. And to do it in a way that we're creating pathways for individuals, that's also critical, Lourdes, because at the end of the day, we have an opportunity here with everything that's going on to really build the capacities of our nonprofit organizations, to build a roadmap, right, for people just like myself who have similar lived experience to think about career pathways in the field of social services.
So I just want to drill down a little bit more. We only have a few seconds left. Eddie, what is it that you talked about, those young men who are in your control group, they're in your program seeing success. What are, I don't know, 3-4 things that those men are benefiting from?
Well, again, Ben, great question. At the end of the day, right, relationships are really key. So the fact that we have street outreach workers building relationships, right, that are authentic, that are identifying people who are at the high risk of involvement is critical. So relationship building is essential. But at the end of the day, relationships are only going to take you so far. The people in our communities are striving. They're looking for opportunities, right? Sometimes they don't even know what opportunities really look like. So employment for us is through the form of traditional jobs. That means that for the last 4 years, we've been able to invest over $10 billion into the pockets of our participants, right? That means money going back to the community and to their families.
Eddie?
The second thing, which is really critical, is the kind of behavioral therapy that we provide.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there, Eddie, just because we have to get going, obviously, because of time restraints. But thank you so much for your insight. I'm sure we will be talking to you again. Eddie Bocanegra with the Heartland Alliance. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Eddie. Still ahead, the Field of Dreams about to become a reality.